I'm Edward Warfield. I'm the publisher of City Biz, and I'm honored today to interview Antonio McBroom, who's the CEO of Primo Partners, who's the franchisers of Ben and Jerry's. Welcome, Antonio.
Edwin, thank you. Good afternoon, and thank you for having me.
Prior to becoming an operating partner at Ben and Jerry's, you were a school teacher at the Durham Public School. Can you tell us about your career and the decision to become a Ben and Jerry franchise owner?
Yeah, that was many moons ago, Edwin, but it was quite a journey in terms of I've always had a passion for education. My mom was actually a school teacher, and even in high school growing up, I'd always look for opportunities to tutor and help my teammates out, especially with math. That was my thing. I love numbers. And so I really got a passion for helping folks learn and tutoring and mentoring. And so when I went to college at UNC, I started working at Ben & Jerry's my freshman year as a scooper, and truly loved that job. And I was trying to figure out what I wanted to be when I grew up. And I'd always had my eyes set on education the entire time. And so I did all kinds of things in college. I did a program called World Teach in South Africa, where I went and taught in township communities there in Cape Town. I did international research about education in Australia and New Zealand. And for an internship, I actually went and interned at a KIPP school in Atlanta, Georgia, under a principal, and that was a charter school. And I got to really learn from the founding principal, the mechanics of how school works. So I was just really, really intrigued about education. At the same time, I was also kind of growing in the ranks with Ben & Jerry's. And I became a shift leader and then assistant store manager. In my senior year, I was a manager. And I started thinking about, what's possible here? What's possible whenever I graduate? This was in 2007, 2008. And there were a couple things that were happening. For one, the Teach for America movement was really big. And a lot of the folks that I did my internship with had been in Teach for America. So I was head set on applying for Teach for America and learning more about that program. While at the same time, I just had the crazy idea to approach the gentleman I was working for, who was the franchise operator of Ben & Jerry's back then, and ask him what would it take for me to become the owner operator of our business. And, this was kind of crazy coming from a 20-year-old at the time. But he gave me a roadmap on the challenges that would be in front of me and the things that I would need to do to make it happen. So I started exploring both of those paths at the same time. And through doing so, I found myself in a really, really unique position that April. All the stars had aligned where I was in a position to become the youngest owner-operator of a Ben & Jerry's franchise in the company's history. And it was just a blessing. It was amazing. And I was certainly going to do that. But I'd also received Teach for America. And that passion and that calling for education and for the service and helping others was still there. So what I decided to do was I focused the first year I bought the Ben & Jerry's business in May of 2008, and focused that first year exclusively on growing the revenue so this business would start to thrive. While at the same time, I deferred to Teach for America for 1 year to give myself that kind of business owner's first year to get things stabilized. And after I deferred it, I went and taught honors pre-calculus at Southern Durham High School for 2 years and really loved it, really enjoyed it. Some of the best years of my life. Now, I had a pretty intense schedule at that time, Edwin. I mean, I was literally in the classroom ready to teach at 7:30 in the morning and did that till 3. And then I went to my Ben & Jerry's business and closed it down at about 11:30 at night. And, this was many moons ago before I had a family, before I had kids, and I could run at that pace. And, the things worked well together for that time because ice cream is a seasonal business and summertime is whenever it's really, really, really busy. And then, in education, teachers are off in the summer. So I was able to make this work for 2 years or so. And during that journey, one of the key things I learned was I was right in having this passion for education. One of the key ways to societal change is through the sharing of knowledge and information. I saw that I was uniquely positioned as a business owner and entrepreneur, though, that I could impact education in different ways. And so from that, I wrapped up teaching and really focused in on growing this Ben & Jerry's business. Let's get serious about growing this business so that I can then start a scholarship program or have an internship program within my business, both of which things are things that I've done And so that's kind of the impact that's left on me. So there's never an education group or a teacher or a school group that calls me and we don't try to figure out some way to support their efforts with our Ben & Jerry's business. And it was just a phenomenal time.
Well, I'm glad my girlfriend is not listening in on this interview because my girlfriend was on the board for Teach for America. She loves Teach for America, and she would have said that you made a very bad decision. But I love entrepreneurs, so we're going to continue talking. Tell me about where Primo is today in terms of employees, your footprint.
Yeah, so currently my Primo Ben & Jerry's franchise spans across 5 different states. So we're here in North Carolina. This is where I'm home based, Chapel Hill. We also have stores in Greensboro and Raleigh. And that's our Triangle Triad regions of North Carolina. We're also in Atlanta, the Metro Atlanta region, and Chattanooga and Athens, Chattanooga, Tennessee, Athens, Georgia. We've got a shop in Houston, Texas, and we've got 2 stores under construction in Tampa, Florida. One right on Clearwater Beach, and then the other in city Tampa, Tampa Midtown. Really cool new development that's coming that way. So we're at a total of 7 stores. With the 2 that's under construction, they're set to open just before Thanksgiving. That'll put us at 9. So we're just on the cusp of double-digit franchise ownership, which is bigger than anything I ever dreamed of whenever I started on this journey. I always, had a dream of getting where I could own multiple, just 2, 3. And for us to be on the brink of double-digit ownership is just a phenomenal place in our company's 13-year journey. So we've been in business 13 years now, and I joke sometimes that we're just now becoming business teenagers. And if you think about all the crazy stuff that happens when you're teenagers, that's what I'm gearing us up for. I think we've got a major growth spurt in front of us that I'm really excited about. Looking forward to causing some trouble and having some fun while doing it and making a difference in our community. So our employee footprint is amazing. I'm blessed to be able to lead a 25-person leadership team. That's our managers and assistant managers and administrative team for the entire business, and those are our full-time, year-round team members. With our business being seasonal, it swells. I mean, at times in the summer we're up to 120 team members across our different markets, and it's just a really, really fun business to be able to pour into so many growing and young leaders. For 7 years straight now, we've had an internship program, a summer internship program. And it's just a remarkable journey because right now, when I look at one of my business partners was an intern with me. One of our our top marketing and social mission strategists started as an intern with us many years ago. And so this past year, we were blessed to host a total of 6 different interns at one time. And that's just our way of really paying it forward, imparting some of the skills and knowledge that we've been blessed to learn with our team members. So between our internship program, our staff that swells up to over 120, and then my full-time leadership team, that's really my why for continuing to grow. I keep seeing a way to grow the impact that I'm having with the team that I'm blessed to lead.
So, Antonio, what role did your childhood friends Eric Taylor and Philip Scotton play?
Wow, those 2 guys, they've been instrumental in this journey. I'll start with Eric Taylor. So Eric is about 4 years older than I am. And so I went to high school as a freshman and he was a senior. We both played the running back position in football. So that made us very competitive. But also outside of athletics, I mean, Eric really helped coach me early in terms of the importance of being a true scholar athlete, with the word scholar becoming first. Eric was our high school's first ever African-American male who was a salutatorian. And in my freshman year, he told me, that he thought it was possible that I could be the valedictorian. And he really infused in me the importance of things like GPA and the SAT and things that sometimes as a freshman you're not thinking about a lot. So he really paved the way and challenged me to never make less than a 96 while we were in high school and to take the honors and AP classes. And I did, and I ended up becoming the first valedictorian of our high school. And I really thank him for challenging me in that way. And so Eric went and he played football at North Carolina State and majored in electrical engineering. And so as as I was blessed with the opportunity to start thinking about becoming a Ben & Jerry's franchisee, Eric was the first person I called just to kind of idea share. I'm the type of person that comes up with tons of great ideas, far out ideas every day. And Eric's the type of person that's able to focus in and narrow down. So when I had this idea about, pursuing buying a Ben & Jerry's at age 20, Eric, said, man, I think this is one of those really good ones that you come up with, and I'd be happy to be a partner if you need one. So from a standalone standpoint, it's hard at that age to have, the stringent requirements that you need to become a franchisee. I mean, you got to have a certain net worth and liquidity and management experience. And so when you put Eric and I's portfolios together, though, we had just what we needed to qualify. And so that's how we started our working relationship. And we naturally, for years, have been like, even though he had a full-time job as a partner, we just naturally complemented each other very well. I'm really good at kind of team development and team building and running a business. Like I know the business through and through and operations. Eric's really good at the stuff I hate doing, like insurance and taxes and the stuff that really, really matters. And you got to be very accountable on those things. So he's good. He's naturally been good at that stuff. And from there, we've just kind of built this business from day one together. My younger partner, Philip Scotton, really unique story. It's kind of it's the flip side of that. I'm 4 years older than Philip. And Philip started reaching out to me when I was at UNC, and he was trying to figure out where he wanted to go for college. And obviously, I was the biggest UNC advocate. And so he ended up coming to Carolina for his undergrad. And while there, he and I got really close, and he actually ended up doing a marketing internship for me as his internship summer at UNC. And from there, we grew into a really strong working relationship. And he'd always wanted to be an entrepreneur. Philip comes from a family of entrepreneurs. And so whenever the opportunity came for us to expand our business in Atlanta, Philip was the first person I called, and he's become a phenomenal business partner and leader in our organization. And one thing I'll say about the importance of these partnerships is that, obviously we're successful together. We're able to grow this business. We're able to make money, create jobs, create opportunity. But really, I think that the beauty of our work and friendships and partnerships is that each of us are able to live a much more significant life because of the partnership. It's not just a one-track only business, but we really push each other to be better leaders and better people. So I thank those guys for that.
So what are some of the key milestones since 2008?
Wow, as I said, we're in that teenage phase of our business. So we've, in these first 13 years, it's been quite a journey, and there have been these kind of key moments that I'll never forget. Obviously, May 8th, 2008 is whenever we bought the business, and shortly after that, in 2009, we were awarded the Rookie of the Year award from Ben & Jerry's corporate, and that gave us a lot of confidence that, that early on, they could kind of see the promise in us and see our potential and see us as a high performing organization when we were just getting started. I like to think about our business growth in terms of cycles, right? It's been like every 3 or 4 years, there are these major uptick growth cycles. So our first kind of itch for growth was when we were about 4 years old. Yeah, so I like to think about our growth cycle in terms of kind of every 3 or 4 years, there's a major uptick and major growth cycle. So whenever we turned 4 in 2012, we had more than doubled the business that we bought, and we're really getting ready for how do we take this business to the next level. I was just finishing Teach for America and was ready to double down on the business. So we started by, in the 4 walls of the first store that we had, remodeling it and bringing it completely up to date. But also, I had one of those crazy ideas I get to do a co-brand or co-location. So during the remodel, we put in a new concept on top of the Ben & Jerry's. And I thought that this was just the most genius idea I'd ever come up with. And I tell you what, I never worked so hard to lose $100,000 in my entire life. It's what I call failing forward. Because the reason that it ended up being a really good thing that happened was because it taught me one of my main business lessons. Your main thing is to keep your main thing the main thing. And for us, selling Ben & Jerry's ice cream in our season is our main thing. And I was getting distracted by trying to figure out other concepts or other things to sell to make the business more successful. So with that, in 2013, we purchased our second Ben & Jerry's location in Greensboro at the Friendly Center. And this was a really pivotal moment for us because we went from one location to two in terms of four walls. But this is where I really started getting a lot of business synergy because I was able to go from leading just a team of a handful of high school and college students to where I put the two stores together, and each one of the stores had a manager, an adult manager, and then also the off-premise business that I'd been growing, the catering and off-premise business that I've been growing just with my Chapel Hill business. When I put the Greensboro business with it, that in and of itself became a different channel that I could have a manager. And this formed my first true leadership team in 2013. And so we had this two-store operation that was really like three different departments, and we did really, really well with that structure from 2013, 2014, 2015. As a matter of fact, in the off-premise category, we ended up emerging into the top #1 position in Ben & Jerry's system through this work. And so that really gave us a name for ourselves. So then in 2017, that's when we hit the next phase of our growth cycle. We actually purchased 3 shops in the year 2017. The Ben & Jerry's down in Melbourne, Florida, was my first intro to Florida and doing business there. And then we also purchased the Raleigh North Hill shop, and we opened a location in Durham, North Carolina. So we kind of went from 2 to 5 locations really quickly in 2017. And this was really great because with the growth came more opportunities to grow the team and to grow the impact that we were having. We also purchased the rights to develop the Atlanta market during this time. And so we'd start building and identifying a location in Atlanta, Georgia, which ended up being amazing. And we got it open in 2018. So that 2017, 2018 itself was just a big milestone because we were buying or opening stores about every 3 or 4 months. And that was amazing. We were awarded the Ben & Jerry's Global Social Mission Award in 2018. And that really did a lot for my team in terms of seeing just how much the impact that we were having in our local communities was being recognized on a national and global scale. You know, we did several kind of key capstone activation campaigns in our states of North Carolina and Georgia, where we were out registering voters and really telling the story about Ben & Jerry's and the values and really focusing on equity in our communities. And that really got us a ton of recognition that in 2018 was just amazing. You know, we were really kind of enjoying the journey of having, we got our total to where it was at 6 shops, 2018, 2019, and then COVID hit. And this pandemic comes out of nowhere, and we were really, really uncertain about what this impact would mean for our business. But during that time, I leaned on a quote from Winston Churchill. It says, "During times of crisis, bad companies fail, good companies just survive, but great companies improve." And so we made it our mantra during the COVID year that this was going to be our best year, period. And we're going to double down and we're going to improve. And we're going to double down on what really matters to us, which is our human resources and our human capital. And so during the time of COVID, we really focused on leadership development like we never did, implemented several world-class self-development training, self-awareness training opportunities for our key managers. And it just proved to be just what we needed to get through those difficult times that were in front of us. In 2020, we purchased 3 shops: Houston, Texas, Chattanooga, Tennessee, and Athens, Georgia, right there in the middle of the pandemic. And the amazing thing about the Houston purchase was that my youngest business partner, Josiah Fisher, he had been managing our business for 3 years, and he became a franchisee and relocated to Houston to run and grow that business. So that was an amazing journey to be a part of, is seeing him make that step from manager to franchisee and grow. So those were our major milestones. At this stage, we've got the Tampa market under development. I hope we have a major milestone coming up in the next 2 months. We're opening 2 shops in 1 market.
How do you build a team, and how do you create? What are the tools that you use to build a culture?
You know, the team building piece for us is all about focus. It's about focus and prioritizing. Again, I love the mantra, your main thing is to keep your main thing the main thing. And for me, my team is my main thing. That's what I spend the most amount of my time and energy towards is really putting together, selecting, building, and training a team that can perform at a high level. And I think by doing that, I'm rewarded in a sense of I'm able to get some of the best talent in my community to come and join my organization and really be change makers. So that's been the key as far as building the team. And then from a culture standpoint, it's great that you asked that, Edwin, because culture, I've spent so much focus on culture this year. I mean, it was the number one thing that I set out to do as the CEO of our company this year, was to really customly design our culture and architect it in a way that as we grow and as we scale, it becomes a true business asset. Our Primo team has always had this unique kind of swag about itself, right? That, you know, we're very passionate. We bring a ton of energy to everything that we do. We're gritty. And it's always been just kind of a known and understood, but not properly stated thing for, you know, really the first 10 years of our existence. And we were small. We were in one region for a lot of that time. So that was okay. And it worked then. But as we start going to multiple states and, you know, and I started doing business with folks who, you know, it wasn't like me and Eric or me and Philip, where we've known each other for decades now, and it's easy to have a unified culture that way. It became a matter of, we want to get intentional about this. So what we did is we really went on this journey called Culture by Design, and we rolled out what's called the Primo Fundamentals, which is really the 30 key behaviors that we look for in our organization to keep us special. And it's been a fun process, like just going through and learning with my team. You know, when we first started trying to figure out, like, okay, we got this swag, but what is it really? What are the behaviors that makes the Primo culture so special? You know, we asked ourselves the question, well, what is it that when you see it in our business, it really pisses you off? And let's write those things down, because those are the unfundamentals. That's what we don't want to see. And what is it that when you see it, you wish you could see it more? And from there, we developed an amazing set of fundamentals. Our number one fundamental in Primo is give a shit. That's the number one thing. If you want to be successful in our company, you absolutely have to give a shit. And we hold ourselves accountable for that. If we ever approach a situation or enter a meeting and it's the smallest sign of apathy, the smallest sign of you know, not wanting to be here, not caring, it's like, hey, you're missing the number one fundamental. It's like in basketball. If you can't dribble and make a layup, you're going to find yourself on the bench. And that's how we treat our fundamentals with Primo.
Well, as you're telling me your story, it's knowing the history of Ben and Jerry, and it just seems Ben and Jerry were out there in terms of the role that a company could play in terms of social impact. And obviously you're the baton, or not the baton, because they are still very involved. So I'm curious about how Primo Partners is addressing the issues of racial inequality. I mean, you've started a little bit, but tell us how you're doubling down on racial inequality in your company.
I mean, it's embedded in Primo Partners' DNA. Racial equality is embedded in our very DNA. It's our purpose. It's our why. It's why we exist. So we're a 100% Black-owned, 90% Black-led, majority people of color organization that is extremely successful and exceeds expectations and exceeds the competition. And so that in and of itself, and the more that we're able to grow that and show it as a model and a example of how business can be done in an inclusive way, I think is us chipping away at that equity gap. We look at ourselves as a magnet for leaders of color and aspiring entrepreneurs of color and from disadvantaged backgrounds to really come to. And when they come, we're going to invest so much. Our number one line item on our P&L is our investment in our people. I mean, we go above and beyond when it comes to making sure that our people get world-class, next-level training and development. I mean, we do things such as Outward Bound. You know, I was blessed to get the Moorhead Scholarship at UNC, and one of the things that you do is the summer before your freshman year, you go get dropped in the wilderness for about 30 days with no phone, no technology, and you learn a whole lot about yourself, and you learn how to communicate better and work as a group and be a leader. And so we've done a team Outward Bound experience where we went to the Everglades and kayaked and canoed in the Everglades as a team. So if you talk about, you know, wanting to get next level communication as an organization, that's how you do it. So I'd say that, you know, we create that platform for leaders to come and grow and to become. And that's that in and of itself then helps our communities have better equipped leaders, not only just for work purposes, but for general purposes. So I'd say that's our number one way that we have addressed racial inequality. I mean, beyond that, we pledge 1% of our income each year. We pledge 1% back to equity. We have a very strategic partnership with an organization called We Are, and it stands for Working to Extend Anti-Racism Education. Like that's our key partner, and they are specialists in the work of anti-racism education, especially in schools. But they also have a consultant arm where they educate businesses and consult with businesses on how to truly be anti-racist in your work. Because in these days, as we've seen the firsthand some of the disproportionate outcomes that happen racially, it's no longer acceptable to just sit on the sideline. It's either you're racist or you're anti-racist, and it's very little in between. And so we've really focused on supporting the organizations that stand for that and that are heightening that in our communities in different ways that we don't already through our business. So the partnership with We Are is really key. And I'd say, you know, a focus on the criminal justice system has also been really important for us. You know, things as simple as our prison books ministry, where we collect books at our store and send them to inmates so that they can be learning and getting the knowledge while they're incarcerated, so that when they are released, they're able to enter society with momentum and join the workforce. You know, those are just a few activities we do. My social mission director, Anna Massey, who started as an intern with us, and the reason that she's been able to elevate herself so much in our organization is this is her true calling. I mean, racial equity work and community impact is her true calling. She does it like few I've ever seen. And so just creating a space where, as a small business, we prioritize hiring her and hiring someone in a non-operational position to just get out here and have impact in the community. Because I recognize that even though my heart is in the right place, you know, my core competency is entrepreneurship, and I need within close reach, you know, someone on my team whose core competency is community impact.
Well, Tony, I've been saving my hardest question for last. This is a hard-hitting question, and I hope you're prepared to answer this question. What is your favorite flavor?
Oh, now that is the hardest question that you ask all day, Edwin, because there's so many good ones. And, you know, as I've been doing this now, total 17 years since I started scooping, there's been so many amazing ones that come through. Some of the saddest days I remember in being in this business is when one of my favorite flavors goes to the graveyard. There's a literal flavor graveyard in Vermont that whenever some of the iconic flavors are retired for whatever reason, they go to the flavor graveyard. And those are actual sad days where you got to go and, you know, stockpile as much as you can and mourn a little bit. My favorite that is currently out right now is a flavor called Netflix and Chilled, and it's appropriately named because you could put on some Netflix and this pint will somehow disappear. It is a delicious concoction of peanut butter ice cream, and it's got these sweet and salty pretzel swirls, and it also has fudge brownie chunks infused in it. And it's delightful.
Well, Antonio, is there any, I mean, I'm sure we could continue chatting for a couple more hours, but is there any part of your story or the Primo Partners story that you'd like to share that we haven't really covered?
Ed, when you ask such great questions, such a diverse set of questions about, not only the work that we're doing in our communities, but the journey and the milestones and my key partners. I mean, I think we covered all bases. I really appreciate the work that you and City Biz are doing, and am honored that you saw fit to have me on.
Well, I thank you for your time, and I look forward to talking to my girlfriend tonight to tell her that you made the right decision to leave Teach for America and to go work for Ben & Jerry's. So, okay, thanks, Ed.